I realized that my colleagues from the other side made up their mind to reject the Constitution at the second reading. But since they've opted for us to debate in the merits and principles of the bill, of course I also wanted to come and share some view, because I know I cannot change their minds. They've already taken a position, and that position is very clear and is firm. But Honorable Speaker, in 2017, I was signed by the UDP as a central striker, representing only the constituency in Parliament, of course. So that was in 2017. Yes. And at some point, you know, they forgot me on the bench, and I jumped to another camp. So when they needed me in 2020, they needed me. You needed me at the time. You wanted me to support you to pass the 2020 draft, because you realized that at that time, you know, a lot of it was in your interest. I refused, but on principle, because I have reasons to reject it at that time with my colleagues. It was not only me. The 2020 draft, nobody is saying the 2020 draft is not a perfect document. During the debate, we made up a very clear point to say this particular clause and this clause is the reason why we are rejecting it. That was our argument. But before that, a lot of people out there, even in the media, we were caricatured, because they think at the time President Barrow brought us to vote against the Constitution, which was not true. We stood firm. We debated. We didn't only reject it, but we debated. We would have rejected it outright, just like you wanted to do. But we debated on the merits and principles of the 2020 draft and made up our points. Later, we voted against it. You also have that chance. That is your constitutional right. If you vote against it, that is you. But remember, when I voted against the 2020 draft, some of you here, after that, called me and said, you could have allowed the 2020 draft to sail through and the second reading and go to a committee so that we can sanitize it. In as much as I failed to do that, now the opportunity is here for you to do the same thing. Will you accept it? Because that is what you were telling me. The opportunity is here before you. The 2024 draft, I'm not saying it's a perfect draft, but the opportunity is here before you to also allow you to sail through to the committee and sanitize it and then bring it the clauses that you need. So what you were telling me in 2020, you didn't mean it. You don't mean it. So that is the context that we find ourselves now. Because, Honorable Speaker, I do not want to go into highlighting some of the clauses to convince my colleagues, after already making up their minds to reject the draft constitution. We will only stop there, because we knew very well the voting pattern here is already politicized. Of course, yes. We consulted each and every one of you, and what you told us, we know. So the draft is here for you to allow you to sail through to committees, sanitize, just as you were telling us in 2020 when we rejected it. So there is a revenge. There is a revenge from the other side of Parliament. Meaning, you don't mean the democratic principles that you have been telling the Gambian people. You don't mean it. If you mean it, you will allow it to pass. That is the truth. Honorable Moss said a lot of things in the 2020 draft, the reason why it was rejected. It was rejected. A lot of points were mentioned. Is it a point of order? Yes.
On a point of order? Who? Wule East? Yes. Honorable Speaker, no member shall input improper motives to any other member. And the honorable member is fixing his eyes on the opposition and telling them, you are doing this because of this, you are doing this because of this. Who told you that? Deal with the merits. Thank you.
Honorable, it's not, your point of order is not sustained. Honorable member, can you continue, please?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the reason why I don't want to go into the real context of clauses to convince my colleagues, like I said, they already make up their minds. And that's the reason why I wanted to fan back, to make them understand what they were telling me in 2020 when we rejected the draft. And in fact, at some point, when we rejected the 2020 draft, we were insulted heavily in this country, in our WhatsApp groups. I think those who were insulting us yesterday will also insult you if you reject this draft constitution today. You will be insulted, of course, yes. That is it.
Honorable Speaker, he is using his left hand to point at us. It's against my culture. Don't use your left hand on us.
This is not the time to play, Honorable. No, we are not playing. You see,
yes.
We are trying to discuss. We are trying to discuss. We want to compromise on the 2024 draft constitution to ensure that the clauses that we have in the 2020 draft and of course the 2024 draft, we see how best we can match. You have an opportunity now to pass it to the committee and have a robust consultation in this country. The committee chairperson of the Human Rights Committee is a member of your political party who want to reject the draft constitution. He is the chairperson. And majority of the members in that committee belongs to your camp. So, allow it to sail through, do consultation countrywide, and bring it back to Parliament for us to pass it. That is the opportunity before you. Take it or leave it. That is it. Honorable Speaker, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Old Yundum. Honorable Member for Central Badibu. It's a good political game. That's Parliament. But when you are caught, agree. You know, your bad side is if you are caught, you tend to push again. Yeah, you are saying that you disturb by telling him that he is pointing at your end.
The left hand, my culture, left hand. You don't use your left hand.
No, he can use his fingers, his right hand, his left hand, his body.
I have a culture.
Honorable, you know, that's not the issue. The issue is, I ignored it, but because you wanted to distract him, it's a game, but I said, if you are caught, agree. Honorable, I now invite the Honorable Member for Basse.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to take part in the debate of the draft Constitution 2024. Honorable Speaker, I just have to thank the Honorable Minister for Justice. I have to thank the Honorable Minister for Justice for tabling the bill for the second reading, and also all other cabinet members and advisors who are present here in the plenary. Honorable Speaker, to my dismay and disappointment, leaders and elderly men branded or give ownership to this bill when it was promulgated and started disseminating wrong information, misleading people about the draft constitution, telling people this constitution is President Barrow's constitution or is the Honorable Minister's constitution, which was wrong, and they were misleading. And I'm not surprised for seeing actions and positions in the plenary here when it comes to this draft constitution, because I know decisions have been taken away since the day of the promulgation, and they are waiting for the day so that they can act. But again, we just have to reflect our minds on the people we represent. Some are quoting here, they said they have consulted their people. If you look at the people they consulted, it's not even 1/4 of the population of their constituencies. And they always emphasize here, we consulted our people. So please stop misleading your constituency, saying my constituency A, my constituency B, we have town hall, we have whatever. It's wrong. Honorable Speaker, on the one member of the Busumbala constituency, he said the president failed his campaign promise statement. And I think that was wrong. The president did not fail any campaign promise of the constitutional reforms, because it's about process and procedures when it comes to constitutional reforms. And Honorable Speaker, when after the elections 2016, 2017, and I think the president do it diligent to allow the Minister of Justice Biden, and everybody knows where he belongs to and how he was appointed, for him to at least prepare or draft the constitution and take it to the cabinet, then it was brought to the parliament. Honorable Speaker, constitutional reforms are processes. And when it was brought to the parliament here, it was the people who are blaming the president are the same people that did not support that bill. Honorable Speaker, that bill, because of the national interest was not considered, in that bill, the presidential powers were stripped because they don't want the president to continue his 5-year term. Because all the plans were failed, they said let's now use the second option, that's option B. That is the draft constitution. It's where they strip most of these powers, and also the electoral reforms, where the boundaries of demarcations of constituencies of diaspora, those are important clauses in that constitution which were not considered. Honorable Speaker, on the draft constitution for 2022, 2020, the 2020 draft constitution was tailor-made in order to remove the president in office, and also to impeach him, looking at the amount of the threshold which was fixed in that draft for impeachment, and also looking at the other contentious clauses which was embedded in that draft, which no other reasonable person will allow those type of laws to exist. Some of them, the Honorable Jara for West even make reference, that is the retroactive clause, which is impossible. Looking at the term limit, those also were not possible. The marriage was not clearly spelled out. Presidential powers, secularism. There were so many contentious clauses in that 2022, and also the basis of that constitution, that's why it was rejected, is because they said even a letter should not be altered or changed in that draft, or a dot, example. So how would people now, or members, adopt that draft so that they can have the opportunity to refer it to a committee and engage other members or to review it? And when they were conditioned that even a dot, as they said, should not be removed from that draft. So automatically, because if at all the draft constitution was meant for the interest of the Gambians, and I think the Gambians would have been given the opportunity, especially the people representing the Gambians, that is the parliamentarians, they should have been given the opportunity, as long as they said there were consultations from the grassroots, Now, the last resort is the parliamentarians. The last resort is the parliamentarians. They should have given the opportunity so that when it has been passed and committed to the committees, they will have the opportunity to look at it. All those contentious clauses will be reviewed, and at least some of them can be amended. But they said no, and it was a surprise for that 2020 draft constitution was rejected. For the 2024, I think so many members have highlighted the differences between the 2020 and 2024. Let us be reasonable here. And for the 2024, the most areas they are talking about, there was no consultative. People doesn't consult the members or at the grassroots. Consultation can be in two ways. It can be at the drafting stage, and also it can come from the parliamentary. Because if it is committed to the committee have all opportunities to reach every stakeholder, to at least to consult them regarding the draft. So that should not be taken as an excuse to say that the draft, nobody was consulted, it was the government or the cabinet that drafted it and bring it to impose it on people. The government did not impose it on people. You hadn't mean they impose it, they don't have the prerogative or the rights to impose it, because it must come here. And let me tell you, with this 2024, today, if you take it for referendum, it will be passed. Because the majority knows what is in there. And they know what the significance of this draft compared to the 2020. It's just few who are against it because of they have some representation here and they have the mandate to reject it. That is why it was being moved or passed and it goes for referendum. I'm 100% sure people will adopt it. Because it's a progressive draft, and I have seen so many changes, differences from the 2020. So I'm appealing to members to look at it thoroughly. For Fonyi, some of the NAMs, they should at least thank the other members from the government caucus. I have right to name the constituencies. I don't name any name. It's the constituency I name. For Fonyi, they should thank the majority caucus NAMs who were in the 5th legislature. I didn't mean they allowed that 2020. Today they would not even sit here to talk about the 1997 constitution. Maybe they would have even existed because they would have even merged the entire Fonyi to be one constituency. Because the powers would have been given to them. So I think you should be reasonable. It's not about politics. It's about looking at the strategy and the technicality in it. So it's not about entertaining the gallery or speaking jargons here just to attract the gallery. No, it's about substance. Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Basse. I now invite the Honorable Member for Lower Salum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. May I also join my colleagues with important documents to have my words. Honorable Speaker, this 2024 draft constitution that members are trying to debate on it, or that are debating on it. Before going further, Honorable Speaker, I just want to make an apology that I have done in the 5th legislature, that's 2020. That an error that I have taken voting as something that I could have allowed the process to continue. But then, whoever has, I'm somebody who doesn't put anything in me. I make an error, Honorable Speaker, because of the misinformations that was given to me at the time. And it's a learning process. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years up to today, because I can see nobody can dribble me because of your favor, Honorable Speaker. That's the error that I did for rejecting the 2020 draft constitution, not going for a process, Honorable Speaker. So this is why I have to apologize to Gambian citizens for that error which I have done. To correct it today, that nobody can dribble me, because I have also gone a rigorous, how to call it, procedures, parliamentary procedures. And I have learned in the parliament procedures how it governs parliament to legislate a law, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the right honorable member in the 5th legislature, that was Honorable Halifa Sallah, that I went to court, and he's a mentor. He said, even if you have a doctor's degree or a professor, you come to parliament, you start it from scratch, you have to learn the procedure of parliament, which was true. Honorable Speaker, when we are all in love at the time, the same man that says, that's Honorable Halifa Sallah, that we don't need a new constitution. What we need is to amend the 52 that was tampered by the former regime. But all of us, include them, they said no to that effect. And the old man and the right honorable voice has stand today. Honorable Speaker, then we were in love. No, allow me to continue. No, you have, please. No. You have debated. I don't raise my tag because I will get the floor. No, I cannot. Why are you observing me? Which I have never done. No, because I am now trying to put your nerves off. You are not to speak. I'm coming on you. Please. Honorable Speaker, you see, I think I will reject you. Because when you are in the floor, I don't raise my tag. You don't observe me. So you allow me to process. You allow me to, yes. But today, you being the member of Central Badibu, you were the very person who were arguing bitterly. Then because of, at the time, you were in love with the regime. Yes, with the regime, I mean, the coalition, I mean. With Barrow, President Barrow. But today, President Barrow, that you are seen as the enemy of progress. But why you people has made Gambians to fail, Honorable Speaker? You see, our problem of this country is not us. It's your party. You see, the problem of this country is, even you yourself, you were the person who is advocating for the process of this draft constitution. You, honorable member, was Central Body. But today, your party has taken a position that let's reject, and you have rejected. Our rejection in 2020 based on reasons, and these reasons still now, they are not answered. And I have put it to the minister. He is sitting in front of me. I can't make a lip service to him. That still now he cannot answer my questions in that regard. In fact, it is 9% of this draft. The member for Opasan said it. You can they reference it here in the explanatory note, where the 2020 draft and the 1997 draft are explained here. You see, because I have rejected it in the 2020. You said, okay, let me also reject it. And in fact, this 2020 draft constitution was rejected entirely Gambia before it comes to parliament. We can all be a witness of that. Because secularism was mentioned bitterly. Everybody were going against it. The sex marriage was mentioned bitterly. I am confronted by my people that if you go and vote for it, we are not with you. Now, because I could have allowed it to go the process, I mean. Not my reaction, I mean. But for now, you could have not given any reasons of doubt why you are rejecting it. But you are, because then I said, it's a common copy from Kenya. Yes, I said it. Because I had the Kenyan 2010 constitution with me. I was trying to check the clauses. I said it. But tell me which reason why you are rejecting it. Because of your party is not in support of the draft constitution 2024. Because you thought it's borrowed draft. No. Even the 2020 draft constitution came from the executive. That's borrowed government. And today, why are you mentioning this borrowed government, borrowed draft constitution? You see, if we want to serve this country, we serve with principles. But don't think if your party doesn't approve anything, that will not happen in this country. In fact, this is the case. Because you thought this is a borrowed draft constitution. And you said it's a Terikafo. And this same Terikafo brought a series of legislation that you said is good, and you passed it. And this Terikafo also make you and I to speak freely. Honorable Speaker, you see, you were here as the majority leader then, Speaker. But you know how then the Parliament operates and now. There's big difference. Honorable Speaker. Then it was maybe some people that would speak, the others would say, yes sir, yes sir. Then it goes on. But today, all of us, we speak our own voices.
Honorable member, that is not a correct statement.
I withdraw.
Not a correct statement. Your neighbor, the honorable former minority leader is around. That is not a correct statement.
Okay, I have withdrawn. Honorable Speaker, I want to continue, please. Because the reason why I am putting this, Honorable Speaker, today, the President has mentioned in his honor, let's stop party politics. And I am somebody that I am thanked by my consent. I don't have agreement with them in this, but if I was you people, and to be very wise today, you could have allowed the majority on the process. The Gambia will know whether what you are saying or what they are saying or they are playing the gallery. Because you have all opportunities now. If the process continues, you give your suggestions and amendments. If they said no, Gambia will judge now. But now, at this juncture, you kill it for everybody will blame. But then, if you allow the process to continue, Honorable Speaker, you will see the other side of Honorable Senator, because I will not go with them. Because there are issues in the draft that I am not agree with. Then there will be an amendment with everybody. And people will know the reality on the ground. Even the last dot where the Honorable Speaker will make his for the last reading, you have all right to reject it there, yes or no. But then, you just want to kill it based on your party said, let's kill it. And in fact, Honorable Speaker, the first draft that was out then, the 2020, Malik Jones make an interview with your Secretary General that if the conviction is still there, we are going to reject totally. Then later, it was amended. Yes. In the clause, of course, he said, and you can go to the how to call it on YouTube. You will check. You will see Malik Jones' interview with the former vice president. Yes, my father, and he rejected it because it doesn't for him. And Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker. You see.
Point of order.
Honorable member for Lower Salem, what is the problem?
He said point of order.
Who said point of order? Kiang West or Kiang East? Kiang West. Kiang West, yes, may we hear your point of order?
Let me continue, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker. Hey, you better wait for me to read my order. Order 29. Honorable Speaker. You 29. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Members, please allow him learn. Please.
The honorable member is talking about our party secretary general's interview, and he cannot be here to respond to him.
You said section clause 29 what?
Please, that's 29.5.
20 improper motive.
Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I said the former secretary, the former vice president and the secretary general, because he already occupied that position then. Honorable Speaker. You see, Honorable Speaker, there are many good things in this draft that we can go back with us and bring what we want to put in the draft constitution. Honorable Speaker. In 2020, the member for Upper Salem speak my mind in that clause. That is the men and the issue of marriage, the same sex. Honorable Speaker. You see, the way the 1997 Constitution drafted, they go again in contrary to put man and a woman. This one said that's the 1997 Constitution. But in the 2020 said a man, a woman. And a woman. These two things. Now there was an issue which we put to the minister, and there was no response. Then because the entire citizens, though it's not an Islamic state, but we have 95% of Muslims, that they thought that we are trying to bring same sex or I don't know, which that was not the case. The bill was rejected by many Gambians at the time. So being a member of parliament and representing a constituencies are such things, Honorable Speaker. I have to go through in that regard. But only mistake that I make, I have to allow the process continue at the time. Honorable Speaker, the members of parliament today are all shouting about this diaspora issue. And they do not know the election bill is extracted from the draft constitution. All those laws that are there, they are from this draft constitution because they write it together. This is why if you go to the Schedule 5 of the election bill, you will see the same thing. How the formation of the referendum will continue. But now, we made a mistake. In fact, we don't disregard diaspora not to vote. It's a registration process. It's not the voting. Because already, in the 1990s, the Election Act, how diaspora is going to vote is already there. The framework is there. But today, you have rejected, you said you want to reject this draft constitution. And you want the election bill to pass. Well, how can a person in that angle sit down and say what they are doing is right? It cannot work because the framework is this draft constitution. And they extract the framework from this draft constitution and give you a bill, an election bill. And you said we allow that election bill to pass and reject the draft constitution. A smart person will not think the way you people think, my friend. My friend, we already know the deep information in you that our party rejects this draft constitution. That's all. And you cannot give up any evidence that can show why you reject the draft constitution. No. But because I have rejected it, yes, which I did it based on my mistake because the misinformation that I had. But now today, I have the opportunity today to get the document. You understand? And to know issues and the procedures. But then I was somebody who was learning after somebody then. But today, nobody can deal with me now. But you people now, you said, let's reject it. Because that's not base. Honorable Speaker, the anti-corruption bill is passed in this house. And the framework that will make it to work is the draft constitution now. Honorable Speaker. And now you are rejecting it and you said you want accountability and transparency. How can it work when the frameworks are not there? Tell us logic. My friend, you cannot reject it based on my party reject it. Give us a reason why you want to reject it. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the public procurement in this country, we all know how it works. But this draft constitution wants to bring a framework to make sure it is right in our public offices. We all know how public procurement, work in our offices. We all know it because there is no transparency in the system. But this document said, no, now we want to make it right, Honorable Speaker. And you said you want accountability and transparency. I said no. Honorable Speaker, the issue of land ownership in this country, we have seen foreigners, they apprehend or captured our lands. But this document came now to address that issue, that the land should be owned by the citizens, but not foreigners. My friend, this is why you don't read your books. It's there. It's there, my friend. This is why you are rejected based on my party doesn't consume the draft. Let me reject it. But none of you will read it, my friend. The land ownership is in the book. But foreigners are not allowed. You see, you allow us to come. You know,
Honorable, please
yes.
address me. Ignore these comments from this.
Honorable Speaker, there are restrictions how a foreigner or an immigrant will own a land. Now you can see our entire land banking are now with foreigners, and they are making money. And this document wants to address that. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Service Commission, they want to be a transparent for any employees in any office. Before holding any position, you have to go through an interviews to know that that particular job that you are applying for, you are fit for a purpose. And this draft constitution want to address it. Honorable Speaker, there are members of parliament said the youth are not captured. In this draft constitution, the national youth development is captured. Where after incoming force of this draft constitution, Honorable Speaker, after 3 years, there must be an establishment of funding.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
May we hear the point of order, please?
32B. I want the member to explain to us what he meant by foreigner banking the land.
Is that a point of order?
Point of order, yes. 32B.
Read it. Read it.
To elucidate on a point of clarification, some matter raised by another member in the course of his or her speech, provided that the member speaking is willing to give way and resume his or her seat.
Honorable, because you are a landed person, you are a legal man.
Exactly. That's why I rose on this point of
So
order.
that's why what you just
Now
read.
it's left for him to. Is
Honorable, please.
Okay.
What you just read just indicated that is the honorable member who can allow you to do that. A point of order is obligatory for him to sit down. It means he is doing something that is wrong, not according to law. The section you quoted is not anything related to a point of order. You know that more than I do. No, you're honorable. Read for everybody to hear again. So you please.
Thank you.
You can ask him. You can, if he grants you, you can come in. But don't say a point of order when it is not point of order. Honorable member, can you continue?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You just want to distract me on my work. Honorable Speaker, you see? Honorable Speaker, the youth are captured in this said draft constitution, Honorable Speaker. Because if this draft constitution passed today, or it has gone through a process and it passed, and it's coming as our document. Now the youth development, there are scheme that after 3 years of this constitution coming in force, the government shall provide funding for the youth. Training scheme, this document address those issues. So, Honorable Speaker, tell us the reason why you want to reject it, that there is no reason of you rejecting it. And if you tell me, that I reject it because I am woman advocate, when any big matter of a woman, you reject it. The member for parliamentary, you see, the FGM, Honorable Speaker, was rejected by her, Honorable Speaker, because of the stand of your party. Honorable Speaker, she has rejected this draft constitution because there is a stand of his party. You see, if you said, Honorable Speaker, that I think, Honorable Speaker, you need to address this. You can't tell me I am lying.
Honorable,
because
Honorable, Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring, please don't make those statements again. No. When you are not satisfied, you can stand on a point of order observation. Honorable, please. Honorable, please. When you feel you are offended or somebody is doing something wrong, there is a process. But don't sit down there and be telling members it's a lie. It's a lie.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
No, it's not correct. Please.
Okay, now point of order.
Now.
I understand. Thank you.
Honorable, please avoid that. If you have anything to do, it's a process. You have all rights to stand to a point of order or point of correction or observation or whatever.
I agree.
But don't sit down there and make those comments.
Honorable,
can you continue?
Honorable Speaker, I think.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Again, Honorable Speaker, point of order on 29.5 that no member shall put unseemly, no member shall input improper motive against any other member. Honorable Speaker, what the Honorable Member said that I rejected the FGM bill based on my party's denial. Honorable Speaker, I quite disagree with that statement. I was never dictated by my party to reject a particular bill in this chamber. Thank you.
Honorable, is a point of information. Honorable Member, you can continue.
Honorable Speaker, you see, I have respected everybody in this parliament. I want you to respect me because I don't want to put you in a hot soup because I know your privacy that I want people to know. Please. Honorable Speaker, allow me to continue. You see, Honorable Speaker, we need to respect each other. Members.
Honorable members, I don't want to put you on record for the press and the media to pick you up. And for your consequences, Honorable, don't talk when I'm talking, please. Please, Honorable members, we are not going to deny any member from expressing yourself. I've said it. When people are talking, you may not like it, it may not favor you, but accept it. That's why that's why it is Parliament. But you can come on with your own version of it and also put it on the table. But please, avoid, if you want to talk, go outside, talk until you are ready and you come in. When members are talking, others want to listen, allow them to have time to listen, please. Please. Honorable, can you please continue?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Point of order. Order 29, yes. Order 29.1. Every member shall restrict his or her observation to the subject under discussion. Honorable Speaker, something that a decision has been made in this Parliament. You cannot attack a particular member trying to defame him on that. This is a personal attack on the member.
Honorable, it's not sustained. I have said it here that you are talking about the draft constitution, and it's broad-based. It captures a lot of things. What you may be prevented from speaking about may be the details of the various provisions. Honorable, please, I've made that ruling. Please. So, Honorable Member, can you continue?
Honorable Speaker, you see, Honorable Speaker, when they are on their floor, they were submitting anything that they want to. Let them allow me to do my work. And nobody can no, you cannot interrupt me. Because, yes, these are public issues that we have an interviews. My friend, we had an interviews that are public consumption. That these are issues that were all touched in that interviews. So we have to put it straight. Today, if you people are telling us that the reason why you have here because of the red envelope or white envelope, we allow people to do your contributions, no tax was raised. But then, if I am on my contributions, you try to put your point of order because you don't want people to hear the truth. I will speak the truth. And Honorable Speaker, you see, in 2018 to 2019, Honorable Speaker, when they were the majority in the House, I was here, Honorable Speaker, and you said there are people out there for protest, and their mothers and fathers were killed in the street because of electoral reform. You did not put that consideration. You said, let me come and change the age limit to suit somebody else in the position. It has done in this parliament. If you consider government people, you could have not do that. Because the reason why this change came about is because people went out and protest. Their daughters were killed because of the protest. Their brothers were tortured because of process. Today you are in power for 31 members of parliament. The only consideration that is, let me change the age limit to suit somebody in that seat. It has happened here, Honorable Speaker. My friend, the issue is, Honorable Speaker, we have to...
Also, point of order. Point of order. Honorable Speaker, point of order. Clause 17F. While a member is speaking, all other members shall be silent and shall not make unseemly interruptions. Intentionally, members from the minority camp are interrupting the member while he is speaking, and I think that is wrong.
You see, he's put up his point of order. You have proven him right. You have proven him right, because you should not talk. No, it's not for you to agree. It's not for you to agree. He's made a statement, whether it's true or not, it's not for you. It's for me to make a decision on it. When you react, you are justifying what he said. Please, avoid those things. Please. Honorable member for lower...
Honorable Speaker, thank you. You see, Honorable Speaker, if this is not in record, Honorable Speaker, yes, carry on.
Remember, I want you said then there were 31 members, but the only clause they dealt with was the age limit. Can you repeat that? Let me hear you properly.
Yes, very well. Very well. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. You see, we have... Honorable Speaker. You see, this is why I said, when we are in love, I mean, when President Barrow was the Moses at the time, Honorable Speaker, everything were right at the time. But today, the marriage has split. Today, everybody will speak the way you want to speak. But we should remember also, we are representing the masses in this parliament chamber, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the interest of Gambian people that we should put first, Honorable Speaker. Sometimes, if I'm hitting the majority side, they all drum the dust that what you are saying is right. Because I am not always with them. But at the time when I'm doing it, they all stand to clap for me. But today, I want to put the record straight. They try to insult me, or to mock me. I have no problem. I want just to make the record straight. I mean, during our 5th legislature, when I was part of it, I voted for 8 limit when the marriage was sweet, 31 seats. Because then their own party people died because of a protest. But they never put that one in their front. What they see is we allowed somebody to occupy a position.
Can you continue, please? We said this a lot of times.
No, because you know
your fifth legislature issues have been, you said it 10 times now. Let's continue on other issues, please.
Honorable Speaker, I want to conclude because now their temperature is in 120 degrees, which I understand. Don't worry, they are my friends. Honorable Speaker, the betterment of our people is to legislate, and that section 100 of the 1997 will give us that powers. That only thing that we can do to amend the Quran or a man to a woman. This is the only thing that we can do. But if we can allow the process to continue, you hold them ransom. That we want this for our people. We want this for our people until the last part of the process. People will know where the reality lies. But in this case, my friend, you just want to pay back. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I take my seat.
Thank you very much. Honorable, please. Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Lower Salum. I now invite the Honorable Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I listen to the comments made by the mover of the motion. And, Honorable Speaker, allow me to quote just few. 2020 taught us a lesson and therefore called for dialogue. He said no bill is perfect. The process of consensual making requires consensus. And also, the consideration stage is where negotiations and compromises can be made. Let us not repeat the mistake of 2020. The Gambia needs a new constitution. In 2020, the same Honorable Minister presented the 2020 draft and called us to consider adopting it. When members deliberated, supposed to respond, he concluded that he cannot force anyone to accept it or otherwise. The choice is yours. Then I did not take his position very defensive in trying to convince us to adopt the draft constitution. And today he made similar call. Initially, when I was listening, I took some members seriously, making calls making reconciliatory remarks with that turn and tune, perhaps what was alluded by the mover of the motion can pay dividend. But with the train of the contribution, especially to the tail ends, has defeated that call. Very unfortunate. Negotiations, consensus building, dialogue, but rather personal attacks on each other based on people's view. You viewed on the 2020, rejected it. Today others are viewing on the 2024, personal attack on them. And you are telling us, let's go to the consideration stage. And we try to compromise. When we are hot on each other, sentiments on each other, political parties on political parties, calling leaders here and there. You mean the ones who say that we cannot trust you if you should go beyond this level? You are vindicating them. You are now vindicating them that this side cannot be trusted. I'm sorry to point you with my left finger. Yes, I'm sorry to do that. I was thinking you will prove them wrong, but rather you are now vindicating. That is a starting point. Honorable Speaker, let me give you the genesis of the 2020 draft constitution. I did say in 2020, the constitution, the draft, was rejected before it was laid in the National Assembly. Simply because of the position of the executive. When the CRC submitted the draft to the executive, they saw their position negatively against the draft. And that was the language that was spoken here. And after I did advise at a forum at Sadara Kairaba Jawara Conference Center, when Goodluck Jonathan or the eminent person, Dr. Ebun Chambers, and eminent Gambians called a consultative meeting there. And I advise, let's try to avoid the replica of 2020. And the best we can do, the mistake that was made. When the draft was completed and observations were made, whatever way, there should be that political consultation to have consensus before it was tabled. But rather that consultation did not take place. It was tabled under the watchful eyes of the executive who showed negative position. And I warn and advise, let there be political consultation and consensus building before bringing any draft. Otherwise, the same replica is going to happen. Honorable Speaker, after the rejection of the draft constitution in 2020, there was mediation led by Goodluck Jonathan. The meeting took place in Abuja. And there, the contentious issues that were identified by the stakeholders, representatives of the political parties. Permit me, Honorable Speaker, were as follows. Clause 17.1, that is citizenship by naturalization. Clause 93.1f, that is requirement for the presidential candidacy. Clause 97.4, runoff elections. Clause 107.1, removal of president for incapacity. Clause 108.3, impeachment. Clause 115, appointment of ministers. Clause 136.3, appointment of Speaker of the National Assembly. Clause 141.4, loss of MP seat. Clause 144.1, recall of MPs. 145, Speaker of the National Assembly. 195, remuneration and retirement benefits of judges. 198.3, budget of judiciary. 211, selection of SEFO. 265, Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service. 290, Head of the Gambia Police Force. And 190, appointment of Chief Justice and judges. That is 16 clauses. And also around schedules. Schedule 4, Articles 18 to 20. And also, in the schedule, that's where the issue of term limit for the incumbency, that is during the transition. Honorable Speaker, the meeting almost narrowed up the issues that were raised, but they could not have agreement in just few out of about 16, excluding the schedules. If you add the schedules there, it will up to about 18, 19 issues. Now when they came to the Gambia, the meetings that came to the Gambia was continuation so that there can be agreements. And this was narrowed down to the main and key one, believed to be the main reason why the 2020 draft was rejected. And that was around what they believe to be retroactive clause. Yes, there is term limit in the 2024, but again, let me put that there was term limit also in 2020. Why was that term limit not accepted? And why are you advocating for acceptance of this term limit? How the term limit should start and how this one should start, that's the difference. They said the term of the incumbent at that time should not be counted. And the constitution was made tailored against an individual, was targeting one person, the president, and that was unfair. So this was the main reason why the constitution was rejected. And this was the main area where they could not agree. Up to the time I attended the last meeting, when Dr. Chambers came, there was room for dialogue. That was what we were advocating. Honorable Speaker, this CRC draft and then what was discussed by the stakeholders from the political parties was also given to us as National Assembly members. When we had our consultative meetings, the same Dr. Chambers and eminent Gambians, including the international idea. Honorable Speaker, this National Assembly went through all these issues that I raised, and we agreed and reached compromises, as if, even particularly to this key one, that is this retroactive clause, around the term limit. The options that we advance at National Assembly are as follows. Option one, current and past terms do not count. We should not count current and past terms. Option two, all current and past terms should be counted. That was option two. And option three, current term count, but not past terms. To have consensus. These were the two options. What was noted is that the three options. What was noted finally, members to reach a compromise and consensus. Many agree on the third option. If trying to bring the past tense will be an issue, then many majority members agree on the third option. That is to say, we count only the current term, but not the past term. Now we were expecting that after the consultation of the political parties, only on about 16, 18 areas, and after consultation with the National Assembly members, if there would be a draft where we had differences, the draft should address those ones.
Point of order.
If that draft
Point of order.
is what is brought.
Nominated member.
Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on 67.
Order?
67. 67-1. On a motion being moved that a bill be read a second time, the general merits and principles of the bill may be debated. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minority Leader is going into specific details concerning what? Clauses. Thank you.
Yeah, he's not making inferences or clauses of the draft constitution. He's making references to agreements that you had reached or discussed or agreed upon. He had no any mention of what is here.
Honorable Speaker, the clause is specific in the bill itself. So it's an inference.
Pardon?
Honorable Speaker, what I'm saying is, in this instance, he doesn't need to be explicit, because the inference he is saying really touches on the
Honorable point of order. Ask me ruling.
The Honorable Speaker have given me the floor.
Minority, just sit down.
Okay.
Yes, Honorable nominated member.
Honorable Speaker, my argument here is he doesn't need to be explicit in his expression. The inference he is making is specific to a particular clause, which is an integral part of the bill. Thank you.
Honorable, whatever words you have spoken here, you can find it in clauses of the of the draft constitution. All what you said. All what we want to avoid is members making references to the provisions here, because that would wait until when we are at the committee of the whole house. But to make general comments on the issues and all these things, on the principles and merits, that is okay. Honorable member, please.
Honorable Speaker, the outcome of the dialogue or mediation in Abuja, I was saying, was also given to us, National Assembly. We had a consultation meeting, we reached agreement, and we made consensus. Even on this key one, we were ready to compromise, and we did compromise that. To find a way out, let us include only the current term. and not all the past terms, only the current term. On secularism, the dialogue that took place at Abuja were satisfied with the wording in the draft. I don't know the ones that were quoted by other honorable members that the default of the 2020 trying to quote that made them not, that made it not to be people-centered. If that was the case, the key stakeholders will have brought that as contentious issues to be addressed. But these were the issues that the key stakeholders had issue around the 2020 draft. Honorable Speaker, if unfortunately we do not have this, and we had a draft that was drafted in a way over 100 changes were effected. This one is just about 16, 18. We have about 100 plus. Then we will say that draft is not people-centered. That draft emanated from the executive. I will call it the executive-centered. And this is a difference. If now you are compelling and telling us, let's accept it, so that at the committee of the whole house, we can do the needful and do amendments. Yes, Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, he told me this when I had program with him. Let's do the needful at the committee of the whole house, considerations take and amend. And I asked him, that's fine. But we suggested that in 2020, and you did not accept. He told me, Honorable Speaker, you had the majority, we had minority. Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, I told him again. But now it's a reverse. You have the majority, we have the minority. If you cannot accept and trust us to go to the consideration stake and do the amendment because we have the number, now you also have the number. You are telling us we go there. How can you trust you when you don't trust me? And again, I wanted to trust you. When the minister made that introduction, but unfortunately, what I have seen, what I have heard, what I have seen, and what I have heard, you cannot be trusted. You are not ready to be trusted. If you can do that, maybe not today, but tomorrow you show us the face that we can trust you. We are ever willing and ready to work with you. And that's why any private member's bill that is brought by the majority side is always supported by the minority side. But unfortunately, the minority side, the private members' bill that are brought by the minority side are suffered or rejected. Keep quiet when I'm talking. I brought a bill here, Honorable Speaker, about 5 clauses. Only one. All 4 of them, they were accepted because they had no choice. According to them, the court had made a favorable ruling, accepting or not, those laws in our books will be meaningless. So it's better we accept. The one that is not meaningfully addressed in the ruling, they rejected it. That means if there was no court ruling, before my bill will be totally rejected. Honorable Sawa brought a bill here, was rejected. Honorable Sanyan brought a bill, the bill that was speaking the language of the National Assembly, that is a nominated members have voting right. Similarly, let the nominated members in council also have voting right, they rejected. simply because it was brought by the minority. How can minority trust you? If we are saying there should be trust, let's start seeing that trust tomorrow, not today. If you are saying there should be trust, let's start demonstrating that trust tomorrow, not today. But for us, we have ever been ready and willing to work for the betterment of this country. For human rights.
Can I observe you? No.
For national,
Can I observe you, please?
For the National Human Rights Commission, the National Human Rights Commission, we commended you for the work and all the stakeholders.
Can I observe you, please?
Unfortunately, what I have expressed, the trust is not there for us to act on what you have recommended. You recommended about 23 issues, but the last one is so complicated and open, that is restoration of all progressive provision of the draft constitution. That is the 23rd recommendation. All progressive recommendation in the 2020 draft. How do we determine the progressiveness of the clause? If we believe this is progressive, they will never believe it's progressive. And you recommended all the progressive clauses. You should have listed in your view and opinion which of those progressive clauses are. But if you leave it like that, that is going to be in vacuum, in the sense that, in our opinion, these are progressive. For them, they will never take that to be progressive. And that is why, with that mistrust, that is why these salient recommendations will find it difficult to implement. Somebody said, and it's very right, both Human Rights Center and Gambia participated, and then the other one that went for the nationwide tour, etc. Your actions and contributions should have come before the executive drafted the 2020, so that they enrich it and bring it. But it should be after the cart is put before the horse. This is the problem we have. We are not ignoring your call, we are not ignoring your recommendations. But this is the predicament we find ourselves. And you and I or us cannot address that, because the majority that is responsible, they are not to be trusted. We are very sorry. We are very sorry if you find our position so disappointing. As disappointing as you may be, we are more disappointing than you because of their attitude. This is the reality. On that note, they are calling me to calm down.
Calm down. So couldn't need that. Amadabo is sleeping.
Then I will cease fire, but majority will not say anything. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader. I now invite the Honorable Member for Kantora and Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, please lock that gate. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. It's been a long day since morning, but of course, the Gambian people worth it. This is indeed a service to nation and service to country. Honorable Speaker, I was really flabbergasted I was sitting down trembling in my chair when I listened to the submission of the minority leader of this assembly. Going on personal attacks, insinuating mistrust and distrust in us is very serious. It's rather unfortunate that such utterances are coming from a leader of his caliber. Honorable Speaker, when we debate in Parliament, when a bill is at its second reading,
Honorable Member for Latrikunda. Latrikunda, please. All right, Latrikunda, I apologize. Honorable Member for Lower Badibu. No, that does not justify your own. Honorable, please. Honorable Member, that does not justify it. Whether he did the same, Honorable, or not, your behavior is not justified. Please, if somebody does something wrong, we have laws and regulations governing us. We can easily address it. How many times do you want me to say that? If it were that anybody can jump up and address an issue, we would not be here. Please. Honorable, sorry, you can continue.
No, it's expected.
Sorry, Honorable, let me once again, where is the Latrikunda? You know you are fond of it, I definitely apologize. You are fond of it, that's why I just thought that it was you.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. It's expected. But of course, I will take it very light because it comes from Law Badibu, and as a Badibunka, I wouldn't be too harsh on him. But I want to assure him he's too genius to distract me. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I've listened very keenly since morning. And what minority leader has said was never a true reflection what transpired in this August chamber. Saying that it is the majority camp that was attacking. That is a complete negation to the fact. When we started the debate, you've seen the goodwill, you've seen the political will from the side of the majority caucus supporting the draft, and they kept silent without raising their attacks. Soon after, they begin to retaliate by reminding members of parliament, trying to bring a blame game that yes, you are supporting it, but you are the very one that stood in this hollow chamber to reject this draft in 2020. So who started the blame game is them. So it's really unfair to attribute such remarks on the majority side that they started the blame game. And Honorable Speaker, reason why we debate in second reading of any bill, we debate on the merits and principles of the bill is for obvious reasons. Lest we forget, these are not just mere exercise. There is parliamentary wisdom in which a debate is triggered on the objects and reasons of bills for us to trade off and convince each other. It is meant for us to debate constructively, to detach subjectivity in our analysis, to remove sentiments in our submissions, but your ability to talk to the opponent of the other side of the aisle, convince the person constructively with facts and evidence base, but it's rather disheartening and disappointing. A member of parliament standing before these outer chambers to attribute remarks that are unfounded, unrealistic, and untrue, that the parliament, the National Assembly powers have been reduced. I mean, these are fairy tales. You cannot make such remarks that national member powers has been reduced drastically. In fact, if you interrogate with this draft constitution, it's now more comprehensive and explicit from the speaker's office to the deputy speaker, majority, minority, and entire membership. So when you speak with this tone, it depicts or it exposes your ignorance in the draft, that you haven't really gone through the draft. It's very disheartening. And a member of, from Ken West, how could you stand here that accountability and transparency is zero in this draft? It exposes your, illiteracy. It exposes your inability to read this document and comprehend to come and address the nation. How can you stand in this hollow chamber with every resource given to you, yet you couldn't have time to sit through and go through your documents to come and inform people? You are here dilly-dallying, misinforming people, playing with the gallery. This is unacceptable to any member of parliament. How can you stand in this hollow chamber, a document before you, saying that the issue of accountability is not there? That's where I'm rejecting. I would have wanted him to be seated so that I can take him through that the issue of disclosure is captured not only at the presidency level, but the ministers, the vice president, are mandated under this current bill to disclose the asset, both coming in and leaving the office. So basically, it shows how people are not prepared for this draft, but having a preconceived mind that my political party has taken a decision, let me just come with that kind of mindset. Anything that comes, I go against it. That's not productive. That is not productive. I believe we are parliaments that debate constructively with dialogue and convince each other. It couldn't have been said better than the submission which member for Woolly East has lamented. How can we forget about what happened in the past? And I quote, Honorable Speaker, with permission. The only limit to our realization of our tomorrow will be our doubts today, our doubts of today. The only limitation for any person for you to realize tomorrow is your doubts of today. End of quote. Another quote says, believe you can, and it's halfway solved. Once we believe that we can really pass this thing in unison, it's already halfway solved. But it calls for the political will. I don't lose sight, of course, I will not lose sight as well, that Parliament is a political institution, a political grouping. But these are moments where we're trying to differentiate, or we try to put aside party politics. We try to put aside partisan politics to see the general interest of our country. Are we ready for that? That is why, in the effort of de-escalating political tensions here, you are not called under the party that you run. Rather, they refer you with your constituencies. Honorable Speaker, it is also said that the future belongs to who believe in the beauty of your dream. It depends on how you want to see the Gambia in next 10 years. The future belongs to progressive thinkers. And the future belongs to people who are ready to sacrifice today for tomorrow. So this is more of a clarion call. Are we ready to sacrifice today for tomorrow? Are we ready to sacrifice our partisan politics for tomorrow? And are we ready to put aside our divides for tomorrow. That is why when I look at the famous quote by William James, says that it is our attitudes at the beginning of a difficult moment that anything else will affect us at the end. This is a great writer, great philosopher, that says that it is our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task which more than anything else will affect its success or its successful outcome. So this is a very big task ahead of us, very Herculean task. But the manner in which we'll approach it will determine the outcome. If you approach it with open hearts, will determine a successful outcome. But this constitution, it is now in our hands. Remember, any decision you will take here, history shall judge you the rest of your lives. This is a rare privilege and opportunity. Not in everybody's lifetime you are opportune to sit and decide the fate of the constitution where the country is governed with. Look at which date the 1997 constitution has been passed. Since 1970 date. Now we are in 2024 or 2025 rather. And when this is passed into a law, it takes decades again. So this is a rare opportunity given to us. Let us grab it and make best of it. And I can assure you, I've listened to the submission of the minority leader, Member Brigham North. All the 14 differences he has lamented or read out to us. I want to assure you that let's proceed to a consideration stage. You bring out your concerns, your reservations, we thread off. I am giving you my words as a leader of a particular group that if we are sincere and genuine, that we want to usher the country into a third republic, we are ready to listen to your concerns, we are ready to trade off, we are ready to make compromises. Honorable Speaker, the prayers advanced in this constitution, they are very much progressive. And I think if we go through the constitution, we will make a change in the position we are taking. Yes, it is an open secret that your party has taken a position. But like I said, these are difficult moments. Every leader, you encounter these things once in your lifetime. You encounter very hard decisions. But it's all geared towards how do you comport yourself and execute those tasks. This is a moment where you are putting away partisan politics. You are putting away issue of individual opinions or sentiments to see the general good. And the attributes or the attribution people are saying that this is an executive draft is misleading. This draft does not fall from the sky. This was as a result of the 2020 draft that was rejected. You cannot present again that in its totality. there must be a little amendments. And when somebody starts to do comparison, that the 1997 Constitution went through 52 amendment, and the the current government, did 100. This Constitution has never passed into a law. It's a draft. So if you are now calling those one as an amendment, it's like you don't really understand. It exposes your lack of understanding of parliamentary procedures. How can you say that the amendment that the executive has proposed there are seen as amendment to the Constitution? We're not there yet. And also, to allay your fears, if you think we cannot be trusted, we said let us go into constituent stage. You still have the opportunity again, because at any stage it requires 2/3. If we do not, if we do not cooperate, there is still an opportunity. Tell the Gambians that there is a window of an opportunity. And not only that, even if you succeeded to take it to the next level again, we have to work. That's why this cannot, this cannot happen without your cooperation. You also need the registered voters also. A very high threshold. 75% has to agree on this draft. So why do you want to deny 2.2 or 3 million people the opportunity to participate in lawmaking? So I hope and pray that when the vote is put by the Speaker, some of you really, with the submission you've had and the clarity you've had, and of course the misconception that you have portrayed since morning, which has been clarified by some of us, will help you change your position. So basically, I want to also join other colleagues to amplify our voice in appreciation of the NCCE, Gambia participate, of course, the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation and International IDEA, for the concern they have in us. These are part of and parcel of the campaign promises of the 2016 change, legal reforms. And today, if this happen to succeed to this next level, everybody here will have your noses in front as proud Gambians. And the efforts of partners, the efforts of civil society organizations, and the effort of our institutions would not be thrown away. So I am calling all and sundry. And also I'm calling on the leadership of the Married Caucus to reflect on these submissions, convince its membership to really accept this thing to go to the next level. We are more than willing to cooperate and listen to your concerns so that we incorporate. Is this draft perfect? It's not. There is no perfect constitution anywhere. But of course, I can vividly remember and recall the chief whip of the Minority Caucus saying that even his only term limit is enough for someone to support the draft. Those are his right words. He told me that even if it's only the affirmative actions, yes, Badibu Central Badibu, told me to my face that he is behind this draft constitution and is going to support it. That even so you can see the level of insincerity that is happening. You are talking to a leader, giving him assurances that the progressive clause is there, 3 term limits is enough for me to join. But because of the political pressure he received from Baribu and also from the UDP, he has made a 360-degree turn. So I'm really appealing to you, particularly those two MPs from Badibu, the lower Badibu and Central Badibu, and of course the Nyambure, that your father has spoken, and you must listen to this clarion call from your father and do the needful. And Honorable Mayor Leader, I've known you for a man of integrity, gentleman par excellence. And when he was counting the bills, he forgot about the rent amendment bill brought by the Deputy Mayor Leader. We all heartily supported the bill. But because of that was a progress, he decided to keep quiet at that stage. So like I said, I've worked with him in the 5th legislature. I have known him for someone who I have high regard for. Gentleman par excellence, somebody who's really upright person, and he's very objective in dealing things. And that is why I owe to him that respect. That please, I'm appealing to you as your colleague from the other side to really renege, or try to really shift your position, and then let's help this country move forward. So, Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, I know members of Parliament really, they want me to sit down now, I've said a lot, but I'm really calling them again as my compatriots, how do you call it again? Comrades. So please, comrades, join us in this crusade. This is a crusade, and I want you to join us in this crusade so that your name shall be part of those great people, those great leaders, that usher this country into a third republic. On that, Honorable Speaker, thank you for indulgence.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kantora and the Majority Leader. Some of you cannot keep your mouths closed. That's my funniest thing. Always talking. And usually it's the same people. The same people. Please, if your people know that you are paid for that, they will disown you. To come and go against what the order is like. Honorable Majority, my Member for Kantora and Majority Leader, thank you very much. Honorable members, may I now invite the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice to respond to issues raised and wind up the debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I thank all the honorable members present and participated in the debate. Honorable members, well, for those of you who were here in 2020, remember very well the situation that prevailed here in 2020. Of course, in 2020, like today, I had wanted to not only respond to the issues that were raised during the debate, at the end of the debate, but probably make my last plea with the members. But unfortunately, the debate in 2020 was so intense and the pressure was different. In 2020, by the time the debate wound up, I gave up. Of course, I was later accused of not defending the draft at the time. But it's difficult when you witness a debate where pretty much you sure minds are made up and you know very well no amount of words can change hearts. We, like it or not, we are almost in a similar territory, slightly different though. I'll make an attempt briefly to respond to some of the issues that were raised for the purpose of clarifying. My friend here and former classmate, Honorable Minority Leader, A minority leader and I shared a class some 26, 27 years ago. We sat in the same class and we were taught together. Having listened to him, I think that will put to rest the issue of whether there was any consultation or not. Because this has been said repeatedly since this bill was gazetted. But hearing it from the minority side, the steps that were taken, different rounds of consultation that took place, and all those consultations are documented, their reports are available. I don't think we, the state, will say we have done some consultations when we have not done consultations. Probably you might say I was not consulted, or the section of society you belong to was not consulted. But we did not just get up to go to cabinet and sit, like some of you said, in our comfort zone to draft what we want to draft. And secondly, it's very important that we understand that the draft before you, yes, the title has changed. It's called the 2024 Promulgation Bill. But even if you were to bring the 2020 draft now, the title will change to 2024 or 2025. That's just a title. Have we paid attention to the contents of the two? Honorable Bo have tried to point out between 80 to 85% of what is in the 2020 CRC draft is in this 2024 draft. If we had changed anything, it's not up to 15% of the CRC draft. An honorable minority leader, I quote him again, said the dialogue that started here and culminated into a political dialogue in Abuja identified 16 issues. And I see sometimes some of you confusing between issues and the number of changes. To be able to change 16 issues in the document may cause more amendments, because 16 issues and 16 amendments are two different things. I'm not saying that cabinet did not change above what was agreed. We did, and I have to make that clear, and he is right. They identified 16 issues, and the reports are available. These reports were put together plus other reports which went to cabinet. We have looked at beyond that. But the 16 issues, even if we were to only incorporate the 16 issues, it will have not only limited to 16 amendments. This is important. We need to understand between issues and amendments. Now, for those of you who are saying 190-something changes have occurred, I don't know who did your statistics for you. But the only way we can give it the benefit of the doubt to ascertain whether it was 10 amendments, 20 amendments, or 100 amendments, or 200 amendments, you had an opportunity of subjecting it to your own scrutiny, because now I am saying something, somebody else is saying something different, but the bill is before you. If you take it to consideration stage, you have every opportunity now to confirm whether what you have been told has been changed actually was changed. So I think all these opportunities are there, because some of us, having listened, it looks like we are repeating what we had other people say. We have not verified these things by ourselves. So there was, I wouldn't belabor the issue of consultation, that is laid to rest. It's confirmed beyond doubt. It's confirmed that the political leadership of this country, except for very few, majority of them had agreed. So you will see that, taking a cue from the outcome of that dialogue itself, it means that the political class of this country actually among themselves agreed that even the 2020 draft itself wasn't good enough. Because if it were a perfect document, how come 16 substantive issues were identified to be changed? So, and then I guarantee you, even if we agree unanimously about the constitution here, we pass it here, 1-2 years down the line, we will see the need to change 1 or 2 things in it, because the document will never be perfect. So it's not, like I said in the opening, we are not seeking perfection. We are not seeking a perfect document. We are only looking for a consensus that will help us move to another level. I also need to make a clarification. A lot of descriptions have been used to describe this 2024 draft. Barrow's document, Dowda's document, cabinet document. And I had somebody make a comparison between the changes that were done by the work done by CRC in 1996 and the CRC of 2018-2019 work. I think it's important we do this clarification. When CRC was created in 1995-96, there was no parliament. When they did their draft, they submitted it to a military ruling council. There was no parliament to debate a draft like we are debating today. At the time, that draft went straight to referendum. It never went through parliamentary process. From the military council, it went to referendum straight. We never had an opportunity to debate it because there was not a democratic dispensation that gave us a second opportunity to look at what work the then CRC did. We now have the opportunity. CRC did a job, they submitted it to cabinet. But also we need to see the distinction between the time, the cabinet at the time and the cabinet now. The cabinet at the time were not enjoying a democratic mandate. They were not elected. They overthrew a government and sat by force. The cabinet today, yes, we ministers may be appointed, but we are serving under an elected mandate. So it's completely different. That president that sits there under whom we are serving has a joint legislative authority with you. That's why when you pass bills, they don't become law until he signs it. So you have a core responsibility with the presidency in legislation in this country. And if you pass a bill that you send to him with all your authority, if he doesn't like certain clauses in that bill, he can make it comments and send it back to you for you to change it. Of course, you have a choice to either incorporate or not. But the principal position I'm trying to put across here is law-making responsibility is vested both in you and the president, because you are both elected. So if the president sits with his team to make changes, it's not a change that you can call arbitrary. It is not arbitrary. There is some authority there, recognized by law, in the whole process of legislative making process. So, I'm not too sure how much more can I say, but it is a calling on all of us, and it's a huge responsibility. Now, I had somebody question when I said in my opening statement that this goes beyond partisan lines. I do not intend to downplay the role of political parties in a democracy. But really, to build consensus, sometimes we go beyond party lines. Otherwise, we will never be able to reach consensus because parties are divided. There is one ruling, there is one in the opposition, and others different lines. Their policies hardly see each other because they differ in their views. That's why they have different political organizations. Now, if you want these people with different policy positions, different ideologies to come together, that means sometimes they have to go beyond partisan lines. That's what we intend when we say we go beyond partisan politics, not necessarily downplaying the role of political parties in a democracy. So that's never my intention if that had caused any misunderstanding. Like I said at the beginning, I'm here, of course I have a job to do. I am minister that have to bring the bill. But I'm equally very concerned like every one of you also, we are all Gambians. The delivery of a constitution, no matter what type of constitution, is very symbolic for our transitional justice. And of course, all of you know, I have the task of overseeing the implementation of the TJ process as well. We've been acclaimed globally for doing very well in our transitional justice process. However, our transitional justice process will not reach its logical conclusion without us deliberately drawing a line between the past and the present. And that line is the change of the Constitution, even if it is going to be for symbolic purpose. It is very, very important that we usher this country into a third republic. However, the divergence still continue to exist. That's why we have a democracy. I, once again, Honorable Speaker, thank all the members. And what is expected of me here is to respect the debate that transpired. And on that note, Honorable Speaker, I allow the process to proceed to the next stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice. Honorable members, we have almost come to the end of the debate. Honorable members, as I said, we have just come to the end of the debate. Honorable members, I just want us to remind ourselves about a few things. That we are talking about a draft constitution. And by the 1997 constitution, section 226 2B and 2264B requires that 75%, 3/4 of members must agree before it is passed. Furthermore, honorable members, it requires that before we can put a vote, we have at least 3/4 of the members in the assembly. We have 3/4. I'm not saying people are standing. I said we have 3/4 of the entire membership in the assembly. So first, before I put the question, the table office will confirm that we have at least 44 members in the chambers. 1. 2, and this time when I put the question, you know, we must this time not only saying those in favor aye or no. When you say aye, you raise your tag. We are going to count every member, because this time we must have the numbers. There is no need for anybody to remind us that. So these are the few announcements. One, now we will allow the table office to confirm that we have at least 44 members in the assembly. In the assembly. Yourself now, the members of the honorable members, a surprise package. I'm just told that we have 56, including myself, 57. Only one person is absent. Yes? So, honorable members, as I said, I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that the bill entitled the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, Promulgation Bill 2024, be read a second time. Those in favor, please say aye and raise your tags for counting. And then raise your tags. Raise your tags up well so that they can see you. Honorable members, those not in favor, say no and raise your tags. Raise your tags up for them for the table office to see it. Honorable members, abstentions. Abstentions. Please raise your tags. Come. Honorable members, this assembly, honorable member for Janjanbureh, please. Honorable members, this assembly has today concluded the second reading debate on the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia Promulgation Bill 2024, a bill of national significance which seeks to repeal and replace the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia with a new Republican Constitution. Following the conclusion of the debate on the general merits and principles of the bill, the Assembly proceeded to a division in accordance with paragraphs 2B and 4B of Section 226 of the 1997 Constitution, which states that a bill for the alteration of this Constitution or for the promulgation of a new Constitution shall not be passed by the National Assembly unless it is supported on the second and third readings by the votes of not less than 3/4 of all the members of the National Assembly. Unquote. In other words, no less than 75% of all members of the Assembly are required to vote in favor. In numerical terms, 75% of all the 58 members of the Assembly means that no less than 44 favorable votes are required for the bill to proceed to the next stage of the legislative process. Therefore, pursuant to the division votes conducted and verified by the table office, the votes cast on the motion for the bill to be read a second time are recorded as follows. Total number of votes cast, 56. Those in favor, 35. Those not in favor, 21-2-1. Abstentions 0. Honorable members, having carefully examined the result of the division and acting in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution and the standing orders, I am compelled to rule that the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia Promulgation Bill 2024 has not met the constitutional threshold required for passage at this stage, that is the second stage. The bill is therefore negative at this stage and shall not proceed further. This ruling is final and is issued with due respect to the procedures governing this constitutional process. While the outcome may be met with disappointment in some quarters, it reflects the principle that constitutional reform in a democratic society must be anchored in broad consensus. Honorable members, the tabling and debate of this bill has reignited crucial national discourse on the future of constitutional governance in the Gambia. The deliberations within this chamber have been rigorous and reflective of the diverse political, social, and legal perspectives that shape our national fabric. As presiding officer, I commend all members for their participation and the dignity with which proceedings were conducted. I also thank the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice for ably tabling the motion. The failure of this bill at this stage does not signify the end of constitutional reform. Rather, it marks a critical moment for reflection, consultation, and renewed engagement with all sectors of Gambian society, including political actors, civil society, traditional authorities, and the citizenry. I encourage all parties to remain committed to a constructive and inclusive approach to constitutional development. Our responsibility as legislators is not only to reflect the present will of our constituents, but to safeguard the long-term constitutional order of the Republic of the Gambia. Honorable members, I thank you all for your participation in the debate. I will now put the question, honorable members. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Tuesday, 8th July 2025 at 10 a.m. prompt. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. This Assembly now stand adjourned until Tuesday, 8th July 2025 at 10 a.m. prompt.